Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and we've got some big developments around Timber and Antony, quotes from Erik ten Hag, but also in the last 20 minutes, more stories coming in that Manchester United are targeting a deal for Timber from Ajax. Timber! Yeah, well, I think we'd like this deal. I think we really would like this deal. So, yes, lots to get into. We'll also be talking a little bit about Paul Pogba and where he might be going, potentially having a chat with Erik ten Hag and potentially staying at Manchester United. But if I give you this latest update, which is from @PlettyGoal, some people may know of this person. I think he's a Sky reporter, saying Jurrien Timber could join Erik ten Hag at Manchester United. Talks with his management team have taken place and United is seriously interested. Now, we will come back to what Erik ten Hag has spoken about Timber himself and about Antony, but this is a deal that everybody's always felt like could happen. And this is a deal that realistically makes a lot of sense for Manchester United. Now, considering we got Donny van de Beek from Ajax for £35 million, I think we can get Timber from Ajax for roughly around the same, maybe even a little bit cheaper, maybe £30 million. Look, I saw Beth tweeting earlier about his height and that being a bit of a concern. 5'10", I think he is. I think Koundé's the same. I never had any problem with us going for Koundé last summer. I wouldn't have any problem with us going for Timber this summer. He's a quick... he's quick. Let's buy him. He's quick. He reads the game really well. He's very good on the ball. He's very good at passing between the lanes. He's very intelligent. If you play for Ajax, you've got to be an intelligent centre-back. Your full-backs go forward. You've got to be able to get hold of the ball, cover your full-backs, play a high line, be part of the build-up, and he can do all those things. I mean, the fact that he's not 6'2" really doesn't bother me that much. I think the fact that he's 5'10" really isn't a massive problem as long as you stick him next to a centre-back that is capable of playing with him. Got a bit of a problem here. Whoa. Let me just load this up again because I want to keep the tweet on the screen. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting signing for Manchester United if they can do it. And certainly it's very logical. Now, it goes on to say that Bayern Munich are interested in in Timber as well. And I think Bayern Munich have always been an interest. But this is where it kicks in again, isn't it? And this is where we spoke about this a couple of days ago. You've got to utilise the strengths that you've got. I think Ralf Rangnick is a real asset to Manchester United this summer if we use him correctly because of the connections he's got in Europe. And I feel that with Erik ten Hag being the Ajax manager, Ajax have got some very good players. Obviously, Gravenberch and the right back I think are already going to Bayern Munich, and maybe Bayern Munich want Timber as well. I think that's ridiculous on the part of Bayern Munich, by the way, to be looking to buy 3 players from Ajax. I mean, come on, you're almost becoming like Liverpool with Southampton. You know, let somebody else have a player. But I also think that because Erik ten Hag has managed that team, because they know Erik ten Hag and Manchester United are a big club, he should be able to persuade one of Antony or Timber, maybe even both, to come and join him at Manchester United. And there is in relation to Timber, I think people get really lost on his height too much. Look at the modern centre forward. Jesus, not particularly tall, is he? Jota's not particularly tall. This is what Man City and Liverpool are using as their main striker this season. Of course, Haaland's going to Man City, he's good in the air, Harry Kane's good in the air, but a lot of strikers these days, they're dropping off the front line, they're part of the link-up play. I mean, there's not many teams you're going to play where they're pumping long balls into the box for 90 minutes, and even if they did, that's the whole point of having a centre-back pairing. We're going to play a high line for a start. Liverpool don't deal with many crosses unless it's from corners because they're playing a high line. I'm not massively concerned about the height. I don't see it as an issue at all. I completely agree with Riley. Look, Harry Maguire's big. Would I rather play Harry Maguire or Timber? I'd rather play Timber because I know how Ajax play. I know how Erik ten Hag wants to play. He wants to play out from the back. He wants to play a high line. And Timber fits in with that. Some people are saying, he'll come in as a right back. Why will he come in as a right back? He's a centre-back. I think he'll come in as a centre-back. Erik ten Hag may put him at a right-back to get him used to the Premier League, I admit. But I don't see him as a right-back solution. He's a centre-back, and that's where I think he'll play for Manchester United. And I think, yet again, this is exactly where I thought we would be. Erik ten Hag has now finished with Ajax. He basically finished on Wednesday night, and then we got the story about De Jong. We've now got the story about Timber, Nunez, and I think you can basically see Man United's, and it's a little bit late this year, But I think you can basically see United's 3 priority signings. And I think I would clip that, I would say that, and I would say it with total conviction that United's 3 priority signings are Timber, De Jong and Nunez. And that could be our summer. That could be it. We've gone from, oh, it's exciting, we don't know what we're going to get. Really, you could almost say our summer is Timber, De Jong and Nunez. Now, whether we get them is another matter. But if we did get them, you've probably spent 160 million there on Timber, Nunez and De Jong, if you get good deals. So is that our summer? Is that what we're looking to do? Centre-back, midfielder and forward, and that's it. Now, I want us to do more than that. I really do, but they look like the priorities at the moment. People worried about Kante's size, and it was never an issue. I know it's different position, but size isn't everything, says Andrew Rossi. And Luke, thank you very much for joining the members club. So look, let me just bring you what Erik ten Hag said as well. So we've got this story coming out literally in the last half an hour that United are pursuing a deal for Timber from Ajax, and that talks have taken place with his management about getting a deal done. This will be true because these deals and talks have to take place. I mean, what Ajax have won the league, the season's over. So Timber's going to be off on holiday or something soon, isn't he? Of course United need to be talking now. We've got a manager, he knows what he wants. Ajax have finished their season. Exactly the right time to be talking to Timber and his management team and Ajax about what we can do. So yeah, this isn't speculation. This is about whether we can do a deal. I agree with that. But interestingly, there was a quote that came out from Erik ten Hag. Should we play Telles as a winger? Says cool. I'd play Telles elsewhere, to be honest with you. So ten Hag has said, I think all the top clubs in Europe have Timber in their sights, but I think this applies to a lot of Ajax players at the moment. If Anthony were to leave, it would be a loss for Ajax. He is top class. So Erik ten Hag himself speaking about Timber. And I think basically there's a message in that as well. All the top clubs are looking at Timber at the moment. There's a competition for him, and obviously he would want him. It's whether we can get that deal done. So I don't have a massive issue with us being in for Ten Hag. It's not in for Timber. I think we are in for Timber, but it's whether we can get that deal done. Do you think Ten Hag can do what Tuchel did with Chelsea, says Anthony Gordon? Which part of what he did with Chelsea? I mean, the bit where he wins the Champions League or the bit where he loses 3 cup finals in a row? I mean, look, it'd be nice to be in cup finals at the end of the day, but I'm not really interested in Tuchel. I don't see a comparison between Tuchel and Ten Hag, to be honest with you. Manchester United have reached a verbal agreement with Jurrien Timber. Ajax have only been informed of interest and yet to be approached by United. Bid expected to follow. I mean, that's from MUFC MPB, who's not quoting anybody, and I know that account, and I don't like that. That account's always been quite good. I don't like this world of aggregating accounts. Well, I'm not saying pretending, that's unfair. But I don't like the world of aggregator accounts putting it out without a source. That makes it come. Aggregators should be aggregators. Like, where's the source of your information? Don't become an ITK. That account didn't grow off that, so I'm a bit disappointed with that. I can't do anything with that. The United stand's not going to do stuff with ITK stuff because it's not sourced. So we're not going to talk about that. Scrub the last bit. We'll stick with what was just said there. That information should not... Well, no, look, I'm being a bit pedantic there, I realise. But look, we're not going to report on stuff that's not sourced. That's not sourced information. The reality is Erik ten Hag has said he likes Timber and a lot of clubs are going to be looking at him. And Plettigol has said that Manchester United are in discussions with the management team of Timber. So we'll take that as the information. He wasn't mentioned in anyone's sell fives last night, but speaking of a sacrificial lamb, I'd move McTominay in a heartbeat, says Brandon. Yeah, McTominay's not going anywhere. And Sam says, I'm not reading that, Sam. I'm not reading that because you have to have a standard level. We've been doing this for 7 years. And you might disagree with it and you might want to go with that. But my rule has been, no, I don't do ITKs, which in the nose. We can't do that because so many of them are bullshitters. If you want credibility in the transfer window, put your source next to it. Don't just tweet that this has been done, that's been done. United District, United Stands, we can't put the news out there. You can't do that. You can't do that. You've got to put who the source is coming from. And I'm not reporting on anything that hasn't got a source next to it. So there we go. What about a CDM mark? Well, we'll talk about Timber. I want to talk about Timber for a moment. So look, I'm not concerned about his height. The concern with Timber, if you've got to have anyone, welcome to Members Club, Phelon. The concern with Timber is that you've got to, people are concerned about is, let me just sort something out. I'm just going to try and find you something. We'll do it on the hop. So yeah, look, I've got no concerns about Timber and his height. I think he has exactly the dynamics, I suppose, as a centre-back of what we want, and he has those dynamics because he's played for the manager that we're going to bring in, who's going to try and replicate and adapt those dynamics to Manchester United. So Timber makes a lot of sense. It's also good to have a player come in that you know you can trust. Timber is perfect and knows Ten Hag's system, says Ben Dooley. Yes. So, Pletty-Goal, who is a Sky reporter, saying that Manchester United are in talks with Timber's management team. Ajax have not been approached about a price yet. That'll be the next bit. But I am intrigued to see how quickly this develops, because I think United, now that they've had that meeting with Erik Ten Hag, we are going to get a lot of information coming through about signings. And as I said a few minutes ago, I think it's very clear at the moment that our three priority targets are Timber for centre-back, De Jong for midfield, and Nunez to be up front as well. So that's where I think that we're looking at there around that. It will be interesting to see what how that develops, but yeah, I certainly think it's an interesting one. Sorry, I'm just trying to type while I'm doing this as well. Right, Timber is perfect and knows Ten Hag's system. Welcome to the Members Club, Ben Feldman and Philon Prod. I'm literally messaging MUFC MPB while we're live now. He's saying to me that it's good sourced information from somebody close to the deal. I've just said, unfortunately, it comes across as ITK. You need to word it in a better way, because aggregators, you're not going to get the credibility about it, really, and you better bloody be right. You better bloody be right as well. So there is a Twitter account that's saying that Man United have agreed a deal with Timber to come to Manchester United, but no deal's been done with Ajax yet. I mean, that just comes across to me as what ITKs do, where they see a story from someone like Pletty-Goal and then they come out, they take it a little bit further, but not as far enough. You leave yourself wide open. I just think, write it a little bit better. But look, what I would say is, instead of arguing about the technicalities of what should be done and what shouldn't be done, absolutely, you've got Erik Ten Hag this morning saying that Timber is a player that lots of clubs want. Obviously, he wants him, and can we get that deal done? And I'm very excited about that. Of course, the other side of it is, if you do get Timber, you probably don't get Pau Torres. So, that is quite interesting, isn't it? That Timber would be the centre-back. What would that mean to Manchester United's backline? Well, would Timber come in and play with Varane straight away? I would want to do that, but would he be a player that has to adapt to the league, so you still pick Maguire? We presumably still have Varane, Maguire and Lindelof. Bailly would go and Timber would come in. Would he automatically be a fourth choice centre-back, or would he be a starter? These are the interesting things that we talk about next season. Because I certainly think if we brought Timber, I'm doing a bit of a dance, if we brought Timber into the club for 30 million or 35 million, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start. Donny didn't start for 35 million. Maybe Maguire and Varane would still be the first choice centre-backs, and Timber would be the third and fourth, or the fourth choice centre-back. So that would be very interesting to see. No left-sided centre-back, says Mohammed, but we haven't had a left-sided centre-back for a long time. Yeah, so look, we haven't had a left-footed centre-back for a long time. I think Rojo's the only one we've had, and he wasn't a starter. Maguire and Lindelof, Varane and Maguire and Varane and Lindelof, Bailly, none of them are left-footed. So it would be nice to have that natural left-sided centre-back, but I don't think it's an absolute necessity to do that. Do a poll on Timber or Pau Torres. Well, I can. Actually, that's a good point. Either or, let's do it. I like the idea of that. So let's see what happens with Timber and Torres. There's lots and lots of positivity around that deal. I think it is a deal that Manchester United can do. Daley Blind was a left-back, as well. But yeah, look, I think that there's a lot of positivity around this deal, and it makes a lot of sense that we will do this deal. So look, I hope that it's going to happen. But I'm trying to get... trying to get a little bit more while we're live here, so let's just careful. Jack, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining the Members Club. Get a little badge next to your name and some exclusive content as well. If you want to do that, click the join button. So, look, the second part of what Erik ten Hag said as well, which I wanted to delve into, because I actually really want us to buy Antony. I don't think it's going to happen, but he basically... I think Timber's going to happen. I think we... look, I'm going to do this throughout the summer, so I'm 75% sure we're going to get De Jong. On Timber, I'm probably 70% on this one. So I'm nearly set. I'm not going to go 80 straight away because the story's only really breaking in the last half an hour. But I'm certainly 70% on Timber. I think that Ten Hag has basically said that we're not going to get Antony in so many words, because he said it's a difficult one with Antony because there's no one who can replace him at Ajax. So it's a difficult one to do. And it would be a loss for Ajax. He's top class. I think that's when he talks about Timber, I think he's talking in a way that that's a deal that maybe Manchester United can do. But I think when he's talking about Antony, it's more admiration. It doesn't look like it's a deal that Man United can do. Now, Antony can force a move, of course he can. But you know, it really is interesting to see how interesting it could be. Sorry, I'm saying interesting a lot here because it's there's a few things going on. But I would like Antony at Manchester United. Gavin Ray, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you. And Timber can play right back as well, says Lars. Yes, we've spoken about that. But you can't fix everything in one summer. We do need a centre-back, and I think Timber would be a good acquisition in my opinion. De Jong would obviously be a very good acquisition in the midfield, and Nunez or Nkunku as an attacker would help. But I would love to see Antony playing off the right and Sancho playing off the left. The amount of good quality crosses that Antony puts in with his left foot onto Haller this season for Ajax, I can just imagine him doing it for Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think it'd be a really good signing for United. But I just don't think... I don't see how we could do a deal for Antony, and I think that's what Erik ten Hag is basically saying. Ajax don't really want to sell him. He's a hard player to get, and that to me, reading between the lines, you're talking 70 million maybe to get Antony. And if we had our whole team sorted, we'd probably go and buy him. But we need a centre back, we need a CDM, we need another midfielder, we need another forward, we need a right back. Are we going to go and spend 70 million on Antony as well? I just can't see it, but I would love to see it. I'd love to see it happening. Never say never, but I would love to see it happen. The only issue I have with Torres is his price, so I'd rather Timber for half the price and invest the rest in other positions, says Akshay. Welcome to the Members Club, Andrew Edwards. Hi Mark, why transfer and other news leaks so much, or did other clubs also had leaks, says Jay. I think transfer news around Manchester United does tend to leak a lot quicker because we're Manchester United. And I mean, look, if Leicester leak a bit of story, then is anybody interested? You know, it's like, if it's basically with Manchester United, everybody's got their eyes on Manchester United. But with other clubs, a tree can fall down in a forest. But does anybody hear it if it's not? Does it make a noise if no one hears it? And that's the thing, isn't it? Of course it makes a noise, but no one hears it. And I think other clubs, you could get information on other clubs' transfer news, but nobody really necessarily wants to hear it. So, interestingly, in relation to the poll, Torres or Timber, 80% going with Timber and 20% going with Torres. I find that quite interesting, but I think there are levels to it, and I think Akshay made a really good point that Torres is probably going to cost you 50 million. Timber's going to probably cost you close to 30 million. Therefore, you get a good centre-back in and you save yourself 20 million. And I'm definitely a fan of getting in the best quality players we can for the cheapest price so we can get more quantity in. I want 4 or 5 players, not 3. So, yeah, I like that. Of course, and another reason I don't see an Antony or a Rafinha happening as well is because it's we've got Marcus Rashford. I really think Marcus Rashford will be given another opportunity at Manchester United. So MUFC MPB has said, I saw the news about Timber. I contacted the guy close to the deal. He told me there is a verbal agreement between Timber and United. The other details I've tweeted. So there you go. Obviously, you can't disclose the source, which is fair enough. That's a good account. I've always shouted it out, and it normally has a source with it. So that it's always that grey area, isn't it? Some will believe it, some won't believe it. It's a good account, and I did message them and say, you're going to get a bit of shit for being an ITK there, but he's clarified it, and the proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be in the pudding. So let's wait and see. But it makes, as I say, I'd be 70% sure that's going to happen, and we will see what happens with it. So yeah, looking forward to that. Also got another update coming in. This is going to be a mad summer, isn't it? So Telegraph are saying potentially signing Robert Lewandowski may have a knock-on effect for Barcelona given how precarious their finances are, and it would increase their desire to sell De Jong. Oh, no shit, Sherlock. We've spoken about that before. Of course, De Jong sale means that that Barcelona will have to sell, will allow them to buy players. Liam says, you've mentioned Tchouaméni as a signing in the past. I've watched every Monaco home match and he's nothing special. He disappeared in the first half against Brest on Saturday, says Liam. Fair play, Liam. Fair play, Liam. Look, sometimes transfers will be overhyped. What I would say about Tchouaméni is, I don't watch Monaco every week like you, Liam, but when I have watched him, especially for France, he looks really good. And that French team's good. And he doesn't look out of place. Liverpool genuinely are interested in him. Real Madrid are interested in him. So I think he has got... I wouldn't refuse it if we could do it, but we're not in for him at the moment. Every transfer window we talk about a CDM and we never address it. Do you know if we have anyone on the radar, says Andrew Rossi. But yeah, well, I've said about CDM. So Timber's looking really good. We'll have to see where that goes. That's the breaking story. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. It's going to be a crazy summer. But also, in relation to the midfield, my theory is this, that Manchester United will play with a midfield too. They won't play with a holding midfielder. Most of this season, we've played with McTominay or Matic or even Fred at times on their own, a box-to-box, and then a more attacking player. Under Solskjaer, we played as a back six, as everybody knows. I think under Erik ten Hag, and if I've still got it here, I should have it, ignore the date, I think we'll play like this. We'll play with a midfield too. And I think what will happen is that the line will move together like that. De Gea won't play that high, but you know what I mean? The press will come from that midfield too. And I think that's how we will work at Manchester United this season. So I don't imagine that we're going to have a holding midfielder per se on their own. So you could have a De Jong and a Lema. You could have a De Jong and a Neves. You could get a Phillips in, but I don't think they'll be sat on their own, whoever we get in. Even if we brought Declan Rice in, I don't think we'd play a holding midfielder on their own. Even though Timber, De Jong and Nunez would eat most of our budget, couldn't we sell a few pieces of Deadwood as well, says Sean. Yeah, look, even if we get those three, I still think there's an opportunity to get a fourth signing. I would rather go for Rafinha instead of Anthony, who has already played in a high-pressing system like Bielsa's. Fair play, Vish. Dybala is available this summer. Don't want him personally, but knowing United, I wouldn't go there either, Ghost Hawk, and I do like Dybala. I just don't think he works for United. Edwin, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. Sometimes it's also about the coaching. Anthony is good at crosses and Rashford can be the same, and Sancho can get better under the right guidance, says Akshay. Look, in relation to Marcus Rashford, if he can work on his final ball and not giving the ball away, that's something that, you know, he would definitely improve. FIFA Crazy says Timber for 30, De Jong for 60, Nunez or Nkunku for 60, Lema for 20, and Eriksen free. 5 players, 170 million, easy business. I would like that. I would like that because you get 2 midfielders, an attacking midfielder, an attacker, and a centre back. And yeah, obviously we'd still be weak at fullback, but I think you could get by next season with Dalot and Shaw as your first choices. Maybe Williams comes back. Maybe promote Alvaro Fernandez. Maybe we use Williams at right back, or you know, maybe you look at someone like Ethan Laird. I don't know. We will be weak at fullback next season, definitely. But for a season, we might be okay. As I said on the Sunday night show last night, we are not that far off 4th place. If we had another 10 points, we'd be in the race for top 4 with a game to go. And I think if we had a midfield 2 of De Jong and Kante this season, we'd comfortably in the top 4. So that's not improving the forward line. That's not improving the centre-backs. That's not improving the full-backs. I genuinely think if we sort the midfield out first, we can get top 4 next year. Obviously, when we're talking about what we need, I think we need full-backs, centre-back, midfielders, attackers. But that's to try and win the league. to get in the top 4, I think if we sort the midfield out first, it will make a huge difference. 56 days until our first pre-season game. Not long, says Sir Nigel Farage. And thank you very much for the super chats that are coming in. So yes, the breaking story is that Timber could join Erik ten Hag at Manchester United. Talks with his management team have taken place. It very much feels like, whether you're taking what Pletty says there or that tweet from MUFC MPB, it very much feels like that Manchester United are advancing a deal for Timber from Ajax, and he will be the number 1 centre-back that we go for. Now, we've been speculating about this for a few months now. Akanji was mentioned, Rudiger. Timber's always been mentioned. Even before we confirmed Ten Hag, Timber was on the list. But it now feels, as I predicted last week, that now that we've got Erik ten Hag away from Ajax, we're now going to get the solid leaks about who we're looking at. We're after De Jong, we know that. We're after Timber, we know that. And I believe everyone knows we're after Nunez as well. So they're the solid 3. We know what striker we want. We know what midfielder we want. We know what centre-back we want. And I can't argue with any of them, really. I can't. So yeah, most of you would prefer Timber. That's absolutely fine, 80% of you. And yeah, I think it's a very, very interesting summer ahead. Make sure you subscribe and smash a like on the video. Just wanted to bring you a little bit of an update on Paul Pogba. It's well known that Paul Pogba is his agent is speaking to players. Who his agent is now, we don't necessarily know the name of that because not Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano's fine as far as we know. He was tweeting a little bit ago, but Mino Raiola has now passed away, so we don't know who his agent is. Some of you may know, but apparently Pogba's agency or whoever are speaking to Juventus and PSG. There was a discussion actually that Pogba would welcome a chat with Erik ten Hag about maybe seeing what the opportunities are at Manchester United, and I think that in relation to Paul Pogba speaking to Erik ten Hag, I think it's a total waste of time. I really, really do. I've got no interest in where Paul Pogba goes because we don't get any money for him. On a purely football level, where would I like to see Pogba go? Juventus or PSG? I don't really care. Because when a player leaves United, you're always like, do I want them to do well? I don't have any malice towards Paul Pogba. It's a mutual parting of the ways. But I don't really care if he goes to Juventus or PSG. I'm more interested in whether there is any consideration that United might try and keep him, which I just don't want to see happen. Ten Hag is not going to coach the last game, Marky. I mean, this room is ridiculous. Give us your full predicted summer transfer budget. Mine is Nkunku, De Jong, Timber, Kante and possibly Eriksen. Well, I'll probably do that on a video in itself, Will, not late on this video, but I do think we'll spend about 170 million altogether. What's your opinion on Lamptey? Timber could play full-back going forward, but he's a better centre-back, says Stedge. I personally don't think we'll see Timber used as a full-back. I think this is obviously the sort of analysis you get these days where certain fans start thinking, we could play Timber at right back and this. I don't think Ten Hag will want to play him at full back. He might do that, but I don't really see why he would want to do that because Timber is a centre back that knows how Ten Hag wants to play. So if I was Ten Hag and I was buying Timber, I'd play him at centre back because he's got the knowledge on how to play at centre back in the system he wants to implement. So it makes it easier to train the current centre backs that we've got. So that's how that's what I would expect to see happening. But what do I know? But I do think the thing about Timber is he'd be a good signing no matter what the situation was. So I'm intrigued to see whether we can get that deal done and whether we can do what's happening. So, yeah, I mean, look, the basis of this story around Timber seems to be that there's an agreement from Timber that he'd like to come to Manchester United, but Ajax have not been approached yet, and the bid is expected to follow. So, look, pinch of salt, go all in. It's up to you. The reality is, I've always said this, that it's very easy. In transfers, it's very easy to put a story out there. And you never know where that story's coming from. It could be a complete lie. It could be the agent of a player. It could be the agency of a player. We might be being used to force Bayern Munich's hand. Ultimately, you just don't know. Transfer windows are very political. They can be completely true, or it can be United are in, United have agreed a deal with Timber, and Bayern Munich go, shit, get on the phone to Ajax, right, we'll give you 30 million now. Ajax get what they want. You don't know. I always get worried when we've agreed the deal with the player, but we've not spoken to the club yet, because ultimately he is not a free agent. It's up to the club, and we've not spoken to the club yet. Obviously, we've not put a bid in yet, but it's a deal that can happen like that, or it's a deal that could take until July. But what I absolutely expect to happen with United is that I absolutely expect United to get their deals done before the tour. This is a brand new manager, and the reason I expect it will get done before the tour is because we need to sort out the wage structure. Giving Sancho 300k a week was disgraceful. It should be a privilege playing for United, not just a big day. The reason I reckon that we'll get business done early this summer, which is completely unusual for United. So, look, give the United a bit of credit if this happens, because it's completely unusual for us to get deals done early. And this is the part of the new United, hopefully. The reason I think we will get it done early is because on July the 1st, or wherever we come back training, that will be Harry Maguire's first training session with Erik Ten Hag. That will be Cristiano Ronaldo's first training session with Ten Hag. So I think Erik Ten Hag will be very insistent that, look, there's no point in me having my first day with everybody, and then 2 weeks later you give me a new signing who's got to have their first day. There's no. I think when you look at Solskjaer over the last couple of years, if he gets a new signing in on July the 1st or July the 13th, it doesn't matter, because he's got a set of players that know him. From Ten Hag's point of view, I think he knows what the first day is going to be like. It's going to be new for everybody. So he'll want his signings to be there as well, so that everybody hits the ground running new. And I think we will get deals done quickly. And I think this is why Erik Ten Hag has started the job today, because he wants United to move quickly and get deals done. Because once basically, if you're Murta as director of football and Erik Ten Hag says he wants these deals done, and then you get them done, all right, in July and August, you might see Arsenal doing a big deal or Man City, but you just go to Eric and say you're happy with what you've got. Yeah, I asked you for that. You've got it for me. Take the rest of the summer off. And I think hopefully we're going to see that, because I think at United we see these summer transfer windows, and from day one until the end of bloody August, it's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I think hopefully we're going to be in a situation this season where we get most of our business done by July the 1st, and then we go on tour. We have a hard July training, and then we start the season in August, and we go with what we've got. I don't want to be on tour. Oh, we're trying to get this deal, we're trying to get that done. Or in August, when games are starting, we're trying to get this deal done, we're trying to get that deal done. Look at, as I said earlier, we're 10 points off the top 4 this season. We're 10 points off. There's a lot of games to play in August. What if we drop 5 points in August messing around with transfers? If we've got stability and a pre-season, and we hit the ground running in August, could be huge. We can't afford to be doing bit deals in August. Pogba will not get what United offered at another club. Juventus can't pay that amount, and PSG won't. Don't be surprised if he decides to stay. This is William Turner. Nicholas has been a member for 18 months. He says, Mark, hypothetically speaking, is there a scenario where Maguire is sold? And if so, what would this price be? Absolutely not, Nicholas. Maguire will not be sold. So, I don't see that happening at all. In relation to Paul Pogba, there are some people out there that think he's going to stay at United. If Paul Pogba stays at United, he's staying at United for the money. And I really hope that doesn't happen, because I don't think it will go down well. I think it's time to part ways. I like Pogba. I don't think he's about the money, and it is time to part ways. And unfortunately, Pogba is not the reason United have been bad this season. But some people have to be symbolic of turning the page. And your Cavani's, your Matic, your Lingard, your Pogba, they become those players that are part of the past, and you turn a page, and that's what we need to do. Krishna, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. If you want to join the Members Club and get the badge next to your name, click the join button, and don't forget to check out our exclusive content for the members. Tizzy's a member and says, I wish Mark could buy Man United. Tizzy, I wish I could buy Manchester United as well. Imagine the wealth I'd have. I'd do it. You know what? If I had the money to buy Man United, I'd do 2:00 live streams from my pool, with entertainment behind me. We'd have like I nearly said lap dancers. We won't have lap dancers. No, nothing like that. We'd have like jugglers and trapeze artists and all sorts of stuff, while I'm sat there with a pina colada And yeah, I'm dreaming. I'm never going to have that sort of wealth, but it would be good. It would be good. Nathan says that Erik ten Hag has been keen to avoid causing a distraction during the final week of the season for Manchester United and plans to spend the week working remotely in the Netherlands. Skype, baby. Boom, 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 boom. Ten Hag's gonna Skype, baby. I said this last night. People are obsessed with whether he's flying into Manchester. We've just been through COVID. He doesn't need to do that. He can Skype. He can work, He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. I am doing my career mode, Vengats. Yes, we're live at 3 o'clock for that, actually. So I'll be shooting off in a minute over to Twitch, where I'm sure we can carry on the conversation. How about signing Dembele from Barcelona? It doesn't work out, then sell him and get Anthony next season, says Mohit. I mean, look, you know what? I'm gonna give the community a bit of a high five here. I wouldn't go anywhere near Ousmane Dembele, but if United went and did that deal, I'd be over the moon with it because it would mean Sancho and Dembele as your wide players. I don't think United will go there. I don't like his injury record, but if we did do it, I'd trust United to do it. I didn't trust Solskjaer when he was doing it, or Woodward. But if Ten Hag and Rangnick and Murta and everybody else sit down and go, that Dembele deal's a really good deal, let's do it, and he wants to come to United, then look, I can't be a hypocrite. I think you've got to allow your manager to manage. Hi Mark, can I get a shout out? Says Alvito, who's been a member for 3 months. Yes, you can. Shout out to Alvito. And Slow Sports News says Paul Pogba's deal at Juventus is said to be offered $8 million a year. Really must hate United, to Slow Sports News. Look, I don't want to talk about Pogba and where he's going, but I do agree with you. Some of the numbers that are being quoted are really cheap compared to what we've offered. So yeah, a lot of talk about that. And Maguire at CDM, good dribbler and a good cutting out attacks. Maguire as a CDM. Oh my God, Kate. I think I'll stick with McTominay. Why can't we just have round pegs in round holes? I don't understand why certain elements of our fan base want to think outside the box. I'll tell you a little story, right? Timber at right back, Lindelof at CDM, Wan-Bissaka as a centre back. Like, these are things I hear all the time. We're Manchester United. Why are you giving the Glazers a shortcut? Why are you promoting square pegs in round holes? How's about we don't play Wan-Bissaka as a centre-back and we buy a centre-back? How's about we don't turn Lindelof into a CDM and we buy a CDM? How's about we buy Timber and put him as a centre-back instead of putting him at right-back? I don't know why we have to put players that aren't in a certain position and try and predict whether they would be in that position. I mean, it happens very rarely in football now as well. I know Pep does it with his false nines and stuff and that, but it doesn't actually happen as much as it used to, where you convert a player from one position to another. It really doesn't happen. United need to buy specialists. Timber's a centre-back, play him at centre-back. Lindelof's a centre-back, play him at centre-back. Wan-Bissaka's a right-back, you play him at right-back. So I want to see specialists in specialist positions, which is why I would love to see Anthony on the right wing. Mark, I'm telling you now, something is happening around Dembele. I just have a feeling. Come back to this as tight. You might be right. We'll have to just wait and see on that one. Look, we'll have to see. United should go for Zlatan, says EK. I know it sounds nuts, but this season I really and truly believe we could have used Lindelof as a CDM. Well, actually, you're probably not wrong. I wouldn't do it myself, but the CDM position has been a joke, so you could probably have done a better job at times. Could you send Martial to Ajax for? They wouldn't be able to afford his wages. This is the trouble with some swap deals. You've also got to look at the wages. Rangnick has assured that Ten Hag will have no involvement with the first team during his final weeks. It's fine. I mentioned it this morning. I'm not really going to repeat it, but how ridiculous would it be for Manchester United to have Erik ten Hag involved in team selection or training in the final week of the season? I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it if I was Erik ten Hag. I really wouldn't. You've got to just get this final week out of the way. If I was Erik ten Hag, I would just keep it as it is. Romano has said that meetings still going on between Pogba's agents and Juventus in Turin as expected, with Riola's group lawyer Rafael Pimenta taking care of the negotiations. Pogba has already turned down Man City, while there's PSG still in the race. So Pogba looks like he's going to PSG or Juventus, which absolutely does nothing for us at all. nothing for us. We get no money, nothing. I mean, the only positive of Pogba leaving is for those people who want Pogba to leave. But the breaking story, for those who've joined in a little bit late, make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're going to be live so much over the next 2 months. It's going to be hectic, and this is the place to be, digesting and announcing the news. Bottom right-hand corner to subscribe, smash a like on the video. Timber to Manchester United is not done. It started with a kiss. It didn't start with a kiss. It started with Erik ten Hag saying a lot of clubs will be looking at Timber. Direct words, a lot of clubs will be looking at Timber. He's a good player. It's now developing into the Manchester United are in discussions. Some would say have made an agreement with Timber's management team. The next stage is a bid with Ajax, who are anticipating a bid. So look, positivity. At the very least, United are trying to get Timber. I suppose if you want to be super positive, we've agreed a deal with Timber. Now we've got a deal agree with Ajax. If you want to be a little bit more realistic, we're in discussions for Timber. So let's see what happens. I don't think anybody can deny that we're not in for him, though. Nunez at striker, then Ronaldo at CDM, says Luke Haynes. I never said, but Timber right back. I said he could play the role, but is a better centre back. So what about Lamptey, Shaw and Delo? Worry me a lot, says Stedge. Lamptey, Spence, good right backs. Don't know whether we'll have the budget to do it. We need a left back and a right back and a left winger and a right winger, and we need smart DM. Amos says Kessie. I mean, Kessie's off to Barcelona as far as I'm concerned. And Rob, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, I've got to go and set up for Twitch. I'm going to be on Twitch, Goldbridge TV on Twitch. I'll be tweeting it out on @MarkGoldbridge, continuing my Man United career mode, where I do have Anthony in my team. If you want to join in for a bit of light entertainment this afternoon, you're very welcome. I'll be live just after 3 on Twitch. We'll be talking a bit about United as well, of course. Tonight, we're live at 7 o'clock because I'm doing Newcastle against Arsenal watch-along on That's Football at 8 o'clock. So we're live at 7 o'clock tonight on the United stand, where I'm sure we'll have some more updates. It's going to be a very hectic few weeks and months. Make sure you subscribe, get your comments in. Great community. We've been doing this for 7 years now, talking about transfers. This is the place to be. And thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all in a